Hi guys, Marika here with Monster Arm real-time coloring. So if you haven't seen the card video and wants to see it, there will be a little eye symbol, information symbol up in the right corner, and you can click that to get a link to the card video. There will be a sped up version of this coloring in that video together with how I put the card together. But this is the real-time coloring, so you will see the coloring in the same speed that I have done it. However, I have cut out when I switching pens, because that takes longer than you think. It takes like a couple of seconds to switch pens. Anyhow, this little guy is called Monster Arm. He is a Little Miss Muffet stamp. He is a digital stamp, and he's just completely adorable. I just love him. Yeah, you're gonna hear me make a lot of strange sounds today. But Mr. Arm here, he is purple, because I have taken the color scheme from the pattern papers that I'm using, which is from the Doodlebug Designs Booze and Brews. It's not that hard to say, I just forget it or put it in the wrong way. But anyhow, I love using Little Miss Muffet stamps together with the Doodlebug Designs pattern papers. The pattern papers I have put him together with is a black and white pattern paper, but in the pattern paper pack there is a lot of purples and green and oranges, you know, those bright Halloween colors. So as I know that even though it's black and white, as I know that these colors will match with the pattern papers, I kind of choose to go with a purple and an orange. Purple and orange, the complementary color to purple is yellow, I think, but it works just as good with orange. I kind of like the combination of purple and orange. The purple is one of those complicated colors when it comes to Copics, because Copics doesn't have that many really good blending families when it comes to purple. They have a lot of the other colors, but purple is a little bit all over the place. However, the W10 series that I'm using today, which is 17, 15 and 12, do blend really good. But I would have wanted a lighter color. The lighter colors that they have is a little bit more towards the pinker version of a violet than a purple. So that doesn't really work well. And then if you go towards the other side, I think the color is so much darker than the V17, so it's hard to mix. I'm just using 3 colors here, and that is one of the reasons why I'm just using 3 colors, is because I want them to really fit together when I use them, and I wouldn't be able to do that here. When it comes to the coloring, I started out by mapping out in V12 the different shadows where I wanted them. I'm imagining that I have a light source in the upper right corner. I don't know, I didn't want to make too much shadows from his tentacle on the left side, so I decided to put the light source on his right side. That is a thing you can do if you want to. I usually try to have the light source from the same place that I'm going to place my sentiment. On this specific card, the sentiment will go on the inside. I am doing a couple of small cards, and usually I don't try to cram in a sentiment in those if I don't have very small ones that I can just add in a little bit of a corner. Then I just put the sentiment on the inside of the card and let the outside be the kind of the image be the star of the card instead, which I'm doing here. So in this case, the reason for where I have my light source is because that bigger tentacle would have given cast shadows on the face of arm, and I didn't want to have them there, so I just didn't add them. Otherwise, I'm putting the shadows on the bottom left corner, because that would be the opposite of where this light source is. I also do make differences between what is a cast shadow and a rounded shadow. A rounded shadow is what kind of gives the dimension of the different spheres. The images, basically all images, are built up from squares or spheres. This monster by the head is a big circle, really, and then hanging from the head is other circles, but in like bag formations. So then you do rounded shadows on them to make them look 3D. And then to make the lip or the mouth stand out a little bit, I added a shadow underneath that, which is a much darker shadow, and I don't spread it as I do with the rounded shadows. You do a gradient, so you go from the dark to mid to light in such a way that you build a dimension. So you give a little bit of dark, a little bit more of the mid tone, and then a little bit of the lighter tone. While when you do a cast shadow, you use your darkest shadow, and you use, depending on how far away things are, but in this case they're very close, like the eye have a little bit of a cast shadow on the underneath it on the lower left, and so do the mouth, and those are just dark shadows, just straight dark shadows. I don't blend them out, I just leave them there, one little line, to kind of give the illusion that these things are standing out. I'm also giving a teeny tiny bit of cast shadows underneath his ears and tentacle or antennas to make it look like they also stand out from him, while I have made rounded shadows on the ears and on the antennas. The tentacles are the things he has underneath. The second color scheme that I'm working with is the oranges, and I'm going to a really bright orange because that was what was in the paper, and it actually works out pretty good. I did swatch these colors to see that they worked together on a separate piece of paper. I started with the dots. I started by coloring the dots and then added small pieces of shadows where they overlapped with the shadows I already made on arm. So most of the dots actually just have 2 layers of the lightest color. With the eye, however, I did the cast shadow technique first of all with the dark just underneath the lid, and then I went in and made the shadows around the pupil, and then around the border of the iris, because the iris is like a bowl, you could say, like a bowl, so it will have darker areas around. So that is how I thought about it when I colored the eye, and I went to the lightest color for the lightest part of it. For the last part, I'm doing the little tentacles that is underneath him. So I'm thinking about using the darkest color on the left side and underneath, and I'm doing that when you have a left side that is upwards. I didn't add as much shadow to that, so that it really looks like it is bending. And then I'm using the mid-tone to just elongate the shadows. These are all more of a rounded shadow than a cast shadow. So you just spread that, blend it out, and then you use the lightest color to do that extra bit of blending. For the last part, I'm using the darkest color and adding a little bit of a cast shadow inside the little suckers, so it looks like they also have some dimension. And that is basically all the coloring for this image. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, just comment down below. If you like this video, please thumbs it up and share it with your friends. If you want to see more of this, just tell me and I will. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!